here I am again, doing another video, talking to myself, to the camera. It's Saturday, 19th of January 2007, and it's 7:45. And my backside has been making buttons to get this done. I don't normally have a drink until 8 o'clock, mostly 9 o'clock. So cheers to everybody. If I'm dead and gone when you see it, raise your glass and say, God bless you, Ted. Yeah, oh dear, maybe after this session you may think that I'm a right nutter, but it doesn't matter. The other day I had a chat with Carl. Yeah, Carl, I'm doing this for you, and also for posterity. Give people who come after me an idea of who and what I am, as I've said before in other videos. And this is part one. I hope to go round half-hour batches, sections, because half hour is just about enough to put up on the internet when I put it up there. Right. Over the last 2 years, 2 and a bit years, the ideas and thoughts that I've had over the last 50 years or so have been coalescing, coming together. And it's also been coincidental that there have been discoveries in science, in astronomy and quantum physics. I don't know about physics or astronomy. I'm not a mathematician or that. Just before I started this, the thought went through my head that really I'm being like the people who wrote the Old Testament. Intelligent, moral people, for their time, scientifically aware, but in our terms, I would say that they had no knowledge. And we know until recent, a few hundred years ago, the idea of the Earth being the centre of the universe and everything going round it was the popular conception. So basically, I'm going to talk about who and what I think we are, using what little knowledge I have. I'm going to use ideas from astronomy and the latest developments with dark matter, which forms, was it about 5%? We form about 5%, dark matter about 5%. No, 20%. 75% of what's out there is dark matter, is dark energy. 75% is dark energy. About 20% is dark matter, and the other 5% is what we can see and feel. The mind boggles. And the dark matter, it appears, is non-atomic matter, and there's a gravity there because we know it's there because of the lensing effect of seeing stars behind. So what I'm saying, there is 95% of the universe we know bugger all about. So that's from the very big, the astronomy side. We then come down to subatomic quantum, and I think that won't be long before we go into the sub-quantum. I think we're there anyway. Someone out there is knowledgeable about it. And the idea of extremely small particles and entangled particles, in that two particles, one can be in Australia and one in Scotland, and what the one in Scotland does, the one in Australia does immediately. No time. There's no such thing as a restriction of speed of light. And experiments have been done room to room. Remember, was it Edison, Edison? Did his first experiments, telephone room to room, and I think so did Baird. So, see these things going on. So, yeah, let's go to the end. All right. My conclusion, and I'll try and expand on it, is that if you drill down there, and drill in there, and where it meets in the middle, the fact is that we know that there's a part of the brain there that's to do with our feeling of time, the passing of time. And I think that somewhere within that, or somewhere in there, is dark matter, dark energy, the size of a thousandth of a pinhead, to say just a size, very, very small. And what we shouldn't confuse is the fact that it's small, that it isn't complex. And I think it's 99.999% what's called dark energy, and it is dark matter. So it's almost non-matter, but that it's like our brain. Take our brain, convert it into dark energy, dark matter, and it can be put on a thousandth the size of a pinhead. There are stories of reincarnation and things like that, and disproved or accepted, we don't know. But what's in my mind is that Eric von Daniken, was it of the Gods, Voyage of the Gods or something, wasn't it? My old memory ain't off going. That's why I want to get this down on paper, down on electronics, because maybe in a week or a year or 10 years I won't be able to do it. This is 2.8 units of alcohol. In, what is it, a third of a litre of water. Yeah. In the Bible, it says that after Armageddon there'll be 144,000 people, Jews, who will be the administrators of the heaven on earth. And you have to think, now, a lot of the Bible are the thoughts, as I said, of intelligent, moral people of knowledge of the time, and they had to explain it in their own way. And you say, right, they've said that. Now, what the idea of God, right? they had to make sense of the world around them. And to make sense of the world around them, they said there was a God, and they developed the ideas, and it was the Jews, Israelites, I'm not sure what we call them, and they were quite advanced compared with their neighbours. Call them a tribe, I don't know, but they were a learned group of people, and that's how they became a large influential body of people. So all these things, see, when you think about Moses and the tablets of stone and things like this, they're not so much allegories. Also, we know that the people that came after kings and priests abused, misused, misinterpreted, reconstructed stories to make themselves good. So religion, so they have to have a key. I suppose I'm trying to put my key forward. So what I'm saying is, right, there's been two parallel themes going through my mind the last 50 years. One was a free will, and at one time I had the idea of partial free will, which is a bit of an oxymoron, a bit of contradiction in terms. And with that, the idea of religion going through there. And what shocked me was 2 years ago or so, I realised what Carl has been telling me is true for many, many years, and that is that Jesus never existed. In that 50 years, I always argued that Jesus existed, but he was just someone like me, right? Big head. So, right, you see, I keep saying I've got this secondary senile dementia, and it'd be interesting to compare the videos I did down in Essex. I feel as though I'm not as fluent as what I'm saying. Right? Okay, I tried to get an idea of this. I didn't write anything on paper or anything. Right, okay. Why do I say it's in there? 1999, the 16th of November, I think it was. 16th of November, middle of November, and I went to my local pub, and I didn't feel, I couldn't settle, and I came back and I was indoors again. My tummy was all upset, and I couldn't sit there, so I came home, and I got home about 8 o'clock. I didn't go out till 7, and I came back, and almost as soon as I came indoors, my stomach settled, and I got myself a drink. Cheers. And I don't choke and diet it. And I settled down and I watched a tape. I didn't have a DVD player then. I watched a tape of The Sound of Music. Not The Sound of Music, South Pacific. And one of the themes in there is about an older fella who has a relationship with a younger girl, same as me and Jackie. And me and Jackie'd been visiting all over the 10 years. This was 10 years after we split for the first time. And I wasn't thinking consciously of her or anything. And during watching the tape, I had a voice, never happened before. It was a man's voice, well modulated, no emotion, neutral, not even like a newsreader. It was a voice that, the kind of voice I've never heard, and it said, tomorrow, phone Jackie and ask her to marry you. I don't know. And this was clear. You know, when we read or we think, the words are in a whole of our head, and when we listen normally, it's in the ear. This doesn't come from the ear, and it was as though I had an ear right in the middle of my head, right? And it was amusing, and I thought, bugger, no way, you know. I won't say I was 66, yeah, 66, and anyway, I used to ring Jackie on a Sunday. I think she used to ring me, this old brain, and I rang on a Sunday and I thought, well, I'm not going to tell her what happened. And after we've been talking, she says, can I tell you something, Ted? She said, one thing I'm being funny. I said, no. She said, I had this dream last night, she says, and I thought you'd asked me to marry you. Now someone has got to sort out, how is it? Did she read my mind? Did I tell her? Was I hypnotised? But I hadn't said anything. And I said, Jackie, I said, you know I don't lie to you, I don't make up stories. And I told her exactly what happened. And she said, what do you want to do? And it finished up that she came down and stayed, we got married. It didn't last long, as you all know, 3 months. And it took me a long time to get over that. I don't think I've really got over it now. I still love her, but that's not enough. But why? What's the physiology of hearing a voice? And in the Bible, was it Paul on the road to Damascus heard these voices? And so many people, the born again Christians, some of them say, they heard the voice. So that experience focuses on that part of the brain that I'm saying. And when I'm doing this, I can't see too well there. I've got a camera between me and the telly. So that's it. So that is how I arrived at the idea of the location, my own personal experience. No one's ever told me of their own voices. I don't know whether schizophrenics hear voices that way, but as I understand it, they hear the voices as though they're actually real through the ears, or through the part of the brain that's related to the ears. So that's there. I've also had the impression, I've always called myself a weirdo, and I've always had the impression that I've been here before. And I'm finishing up, as I think I'll be finishing up anyway, on Arran. And the Holy Isle is just across the little stretch of water there. And there's something there. Through the ages, they said that if God didn't exist, man would have to invent him. And the answer to that is that's what man has done. Man has invented God. God doesn't exist to invent him. You've got to say, how and why? And something like 80% of the population of the world believes in something else out there. Why? Is it because we have this thing within us? I saw the film Men in Black, and I think right at the end it shows you a man with the brain opened up, and there's a little man inside the skull driving the man as though he's driving a JCB with all the controls. And I thought, God, that looks good. But different things on the website. I say that the last time I was here, I was Theodore Edward Aylward, church organist, and then right back to Godric, Saint Godric. Was it 1100 or something? There's these ideas, and they're crazy on the ordinary human friendly terms, right? I'm losing this a bit, and I'm not homing in. It sounds very woolly, sorry. I keep thinking of looking at the camera, and I do tend to. I was told once that I don't look at people's eyes when I talk to them, and it makes me seem a bit shifty. But it's just my habit of looking around when I talk to people. Was it I was saying to Carl the other night? I was saying we have to make sense of. We can't just reject what's written down in a lot of these books, the Bible and all the other religious books. And right, we're talking about dark matter, dark energy and intelligent. Yeah, that's the part. If we go back, we are animated carbon life. At one time there was chemicals inorganic, right? There were inorganic chemicals that became organic chemicals, and from this DNA and RNA then DNA, and out of non-animate chemicals, animated human beings were created. We were created from stones, if you like. And in the same way, I can say primeval energy, the original energy, the dark energy, energy and matter is interchangeable, transposable. And what I think is that in the same way as way back, it was inorganic energy which became organic energy. And that organic energy gradually became a brain. But I think it's a brain that's far removed from our own. Right? 5 minutes to go for the first bit. Whether I'll go on after, I don't know. So, well, right. And so, okay, why is it that there are brains out there the size of a thousandth the size of a pinhead out there, and that sometimes they come into a human body? We're now talking about Homo superiors as against Homo sapiens. Is that connected with it? I vaguely believe that not everybody has a person inside them. Not everybody has got this thing inside them. Some human beings are born from the mother, and they have a brain and they can function in the same way as all animals function, but they don't. And then some people become, I hope say, infected, become imbued. This brain, this energy brain, goes into the human being, and it becomes not more the human being, but that at the point of entering, there's some mechanism which I don't even pretend to have a theory about, but that once it goes there, that's it. It's isolated from the rest of it out there. And the only way it gets released is when the body dies. It goes in, it's fixed and screwed in, if you like. It's fixed in, and it's there. So there can be breakthroughs. I think that if that is true, it would explain some of the weird ideas that I get. So this is the first time I've talked to. I've talked a little bit to Joseph, my next door neighbour, but you never want to frighten people, do you? Not drinking very much, am I? Yeah. So, one, I believe that there is intelligent energy which is being created from dark matter and dark energy, that this animated, intelligent energy decides, in quotes, to inhabit a human being, right? And that then it's isolated until death, and it can then go out. The 144,000 in the Bible, 12,000 each from the 12 tribes of Israel, it's a funny number, isn't it? Did someone have some inclination, or was there a breakthrough between the energy brain and the real brain? The tablets of stone, as supposedly was, were they from the inspiration of the small brain, subatomic brain in it, but dark energy, and these things. But when you look at you look at the Ten Commandments, okay, they're based on things that went before and went before they were plagiarised. But sometimes someone, before Confucius, had these ideas that we intuitively know are good things. They're good for ourselves and they're good for society. But does that come from within ourselves as being human beings with a human physical brain, or is it from the dark energy brain? You see how I'm losing it now, Carl, right? I wonder if this is going to right, it's 8:15. I'm going to sign off and watch this again. I hope I keep it, even if I redo it in another form afterwards. So, right, see you later. All right.